Okay, the second thing I want to talk about is sliding. Now, basically, what we're going to do when we slide is essentially you're sliding from one note to the other. So it's, you know, that sort of thing, but of course within the scale. So if we were to take the A minor pentatonic scale, okay, now we know our fingering there for that is 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4. And let's say that we just come up with a little phrase, something like this. Okay, now to make that a little bit more interesting, what we can possibly do is add some slides. Now, theoretically, you can slide from any one note to the note adjacent to it in the scale, anywhere in that scale. So, for instance, we could slide here like this, or here, or here, or a bit longer slide, or on the first string. An alternative to that, or an add-on to that, if you like, would be to do a double slide where we slide up and back. So you might play a phrase like, just a simple phrase with a couple of notes, but you might put a slide in. And that slide, even though that's very simple, but it just changes something there. It just gives it more expression. Okay, so we can slide up, we can slide down, we can slide from just one fret below any of those notes. So something like that. Just really simple. The other thing that you'll notice that I sort of do without even realizing it is vibrato, where I'm wobbling my finger. Basically what that is playing the note and then just shaking your finger to give that yeah sort of sound. Okay, but if we put a slide in with a bit of vibrato, compare, say, something like this to something like this. Okay, the second one, even though it's probably just as simple as the first one, but there's, to my ears, there's a lot more expression in the first one. Okay, now I used a couple of other little things in there as well. You would have noticed that I'm using what we call a hammer-on. Now a hammer-on basically is holding a note on say, for instance, the 5th fret on the 4th string. So we anchor our finger on that one note, pick that note, and then hammer our finger down to sound the next note without actually picking it. And the difference is in the sound of the first note to the second. Even though you could go by using a hammer, it sounds different. So if we combine a hammer, and the opposite to that, of course, is a pull. And what we're doing there is placing those two fingers on the 4th string. First finger is on the 4th string, 5th fret. The third finger is on the 4th string in the 7th fret. Keep those two fingers down and then pick the first note. So I'd be picking the 4th string, which would be an A. As I pick that, I pull my finger off, pull it slightly towards the floor to get what we call a pull. So I'm pulling, instead of playing those and picking those two notes like this, I'm actually picking the first one, pulling the second. Okay, now when you combine those, of course, you could have a little phrase that maybe starts with a slide, hammer, pull, bit of vibrato. Now these things, if you're not used to it, you'll find your fingers will not be happy about doing those things. Or you may not be able to get a lot of volume, but you find if you persevere with it, you very quickly get used to doing those pulls. Then you'll find that you'll start doing those without even thinking about it. You just do them. They just come out. It's a bit like how you speak and you take a break, you breathe, you put in a rest, whatever, when you're talking. You're sort of doing that without thinking about it. And it's the same with your guitar skills, those things there. You just practice them enough until they become second nature. Okay, now another one we can talk about, we've talked about the slide, the hammer. You could do a multiple hammer. That kind of sound, you don't hear that much these days, but particularly in the 70s, you would hear that type of thing, multiple hammering. The pull and the vibrato. Okay, slide, hammer, pull, vibrato.